The morning sky over New York turned from blue to black in seconds. Giant shadows fell across the city as 7 enormous disc-shaped vessels positioned themselves in Earth's orbit. The same scene played out over every major city around the world. Commander Peter Hayes was jolted awake by the blaring alarm of his emergency phone. He had been asleep for only 3 hours after a late shift at the International Space Defense Force headquarters. "Commander Hayes speaking," he answered, instantly alert despite his exhaustion. "Sir, you need to come in immediately. We have a situation. Unknown vessels in orbit. Hundreds of them," said the voice of his second-in-command. Peter dressed quickly and drove through streets filled with people pointing at the sky. Traffic was chaotic as drivers stopped to look up at the massive ships hovering overhead. At headquarters, screens showed the alien vessels from different angles. They were elegant but threatening, with smooth metallic surfaces that seemed to absorb light. "Any communications?" Peter asked as he entered the command center. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, sir." The message repeats every 5 minutes. The largest screen flickered to show a humanoid figure with pale blue skin, elongated features, and eyes that were entirely black. It wore ornate armor with symbols that seemed to shift and change. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, "I am High Chancellor Varaxian of the Galactic Hegemony. Your planet has been scheduled for resource extraction. Your water reserves are required for the continuation of our civilization. You have 24 Earth hours to surrender and prepare for evacuation. Resistance is inadvisable. Your technology is primitive compared to ours." The message ended, and the screen returned to showing the alien vessels. "Get me Dr. Martinez," Peter ordered. Dr. Sofia Martinez arrived 15 minutes later. As Earth's leading xenolinguist, she had prepared for this day her entire career, though she never truly believed it would come. "I need to understand everything about them," Peter told her. "Language patterns, cultural implications, any weaknesses in their communication." Sofia nodded and immediately went to work analyzing the message and the strange symbols on the alien's armor. Meanwhile, President Laura Gibson addressed an emergency session of the United Nations. "Today, humanity faces its greatest challenge," she said to the assembled leaders. "These visitors have made their intentions clear. They see our planet as a resource to be harvested, not as a home to billions of sentient beings." As world leaders debated their options, Sofia made a discovery. "Commander Hayes," she called urgently, "I've intercepted communications between their ships. They're not telling us everything. Their homeworld is dying from extreme drought. They've depleted their water sources through poor resource management. They're desperate." Peter looked at the data. "Can we use this information?" "Maybe. Their desperation could make them reckless. Also, there's something else." Sofia played another intercepted message. "They're not expecting any resistance. They think we're completely defenseless." Peter smiled grimly. "Then they're in for a surprise." In Washington, President Gibson ended her address to the nation. "We will not surrender our home. Throughout human history, we have faced seemingly insurmountable challenges, and we have always found a way to persevere. This will be no different. I ask for unity in this darkest hour. Together, we will defend our planet." As the deadline approached, military forces worldwide were placed on high alert. Civilians were evacuated from coastal cities, and deep beneath the ocean's surface, lights began to come on in facilities that officially didn't exist. The 24-hour countdown continued as Peter Hayes received a classified message. "Operation Sentinel activated. Report to Mariana Base immediately." Peter looked up at the alien ships visible through the window. "They have no idea what they're in for," he whispered to himself as he prepared to leave for the secret underwater base, where humanity's true response awaited. The submarine dove deeper into the dark waters of the Pacific Ocean. Inside, Admiral Jack Murphy sat quietly, watching the depth gauge as they descended toward the ocean floor. The vessel creaked under the immense pressure. "We're approaching Mariana Base, sir," the pilot said. Jack nodded. After 30 years in the Navy, very little surprised him. But what he was about to see would change everything he thought he knew about humanity's capabilities. The submarine slowed as it approached what appeared to be a solid rock wall. Suddenly, the wall split open, revealing a hidden entrance. The submarine glided through into a massive underwater cavern. Jack's eyes widened. Inside the cavern was an enormous facility stretching for miles. And floating in massive underwater docks were ships, not submarines or aircraft carriers, but spaceships. Dozens of them, in various sizes and configurations. As Jack stepped onto the dock, Commander Peter Hayes was waiting for him. "Welcome to Sentinel, Admiral," Peter said. "Sorry about the secrecy." "What is all this?" Jack asked, looking at the fleet of ships around them. "Humanity's insurance policy," Peter replied, leading Jack to a small vehicle. "For the past 50 years, every major nation has contributed to this program. After the Roswell incident in 1947, world leaders realized we needed to prepare for possible contact. They drove through the massive facility. Workers rushed around, preparing the ships for launch. "Are you telling me these are built with alien technology?" Jack asked. "Reverse engineered from crashed vessels we've recovered over the decades," Peter explained. "Combined with human innovation, the public knows about some of the crashes, but not all." They stopped at a large circular door. Peter placed his hand on a scanner, and the door slid open to reveal a command center. Screens showed the alien vessels in orbit and other secret bases around the world. "We have similar facilities under the Antarctic ice sheet, the Sahara Desert, and the dark side of the moon. 300 ships in total," Peter said. A young woman approached them. She had short red hair and intense green eyes. "Admiral Murphy, this is Lieutenant Olivia Parker, our tactical officer," Peter said. "Sir," Olivia nodded respectfully. "We've been analyzing the hegemony's ship formations. They're following standard conquest protocols they've used on other worlds." "Other worlds? You mean we're not the first?" Jack asked. "No, sir. The hegemony has conquered 17 planets in the last century," Olivia explained. "But they've never encountered meaningful resistance. Their tactics are predictable because they've never needed to adapt." Jack followed them to another section where a tall man with gray hair was directing a team working on a massive engine. "Chief Engineer Alan Foster," Peter introduced him. "The reason our ships can actually fight back." Alan wiped his hands on a cloth. "The aliens use a standard shield frequency. We've designed our weapons to bypass it completely. They won't know what hit them. And our propulsion systems are actually more efficient than theirs," Alan added with pride. "They rely on brute force. We had to be clever with the limited resources we had." Jack looked around the room. "How have you kept this secret for so long?" "Compartmentalization," Peter said. "Most workers only know their specific task, plus some very creative accounting by every major government." A message appeared on the main screen. It was President Gibson. "The hegemony has agreed to extend their deadline by 12 hours, she announced. "They believe we're preparing to surrender. Use this time wisely." Peter turned to Jack. "You've been chosen to lead the fleet, Admiral. The U.S. Defiant is your flagship." He pointed to the largest ship in the dock. It was sleek and powerful, with distinctive wings and weapon systems unlike anything Jack had ever seen. "We need to deploy all ships within the next 10 hours, Peter said. "The hegemony is getting suspicious. Their scanners have detected unusual energy signatures from our bases." Jack looked at the Armada being prepared around him. A mix of fear and determination settled in his chest. "Let's show these aliens that humans don't surrender," he said. Captain Daniel Bennett stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, watching his crew prepare for battle. The flagship of Earth's hidden fleet was nearly ready to launch. Screens around the bridge showed similar activity in bases around the world. The countdown timer on the main display showed just over 8 hours until the hegemony's extended deadline. "Captain, all systems are online," reported the ship's computer specialist. Daniel nodded. He had been chosen for this mission because of his experience with experimental aircraft. But nothing could have prepared him for commanding a spaceship against an alien armada. "Open a channel to all Earth vessels," he ordered. Across the planet, in underwater bases, desert bunkers, and lunar facilities, 300 ship captains heard his voice. "This is Captain Bennett. In a few hours, we will reveal ourselves to an enemy who believes us defenseless. They expect surrender. Instead, they'll face the full might of humanity. Every drill, every simulation has prepared us for this moment. Trust your training. Trust each other." After closing the channel, Daniel walked through the ship to perform final inspections. In the weapons bay, crews loaded advanced missiles designed to penetrate alien shields. In the medical bay, doctors prepared for casualties. In her private quarters, Flight Officer Kate Robinson said goodbye to her husband over a secure video link. "I can't tell you where I'm going," she said, fighting back tears. "I know enough," her husband replied. "Just come back to me." Kate touched the screen. "I will. I promise." In the main hangar, engineers made last-minute adjustments to fighter craft. Chief Engineer Foster supervised the final calibration of the main engines. "These engines will outrun anything that Hegemony has," he assured Daniel. "Our scientists have made improvements to the alien designs." At the command center in Mariana Base, Dr. Sofia Martinez worked frantically at her computer. For hours, she had analyzed the Hegemony's communications, looking for anything that might give Earth an advantage. "Commander Hayes," she called out suddenly. "I found something." Peter rushed to her station. On her screen was a complex diagram of energy patterns. "Their shield technology relies on a specific frequency modulation," Sofia explained. "If we can broadcast a counter-frequency during battle, we can create temporary gaps in their defenses." "How temporary?" Peter asked. 3 to 5 seconds. Enough time for a targeted strike. Peter immediately relayed this information to Admiral Murphy and all ship captains. On the Hegemony command ship, High Chancellor Varaxian received troubling news. "Chancellor, our sensors are detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet's oceans and moon," reported a subordinate. Varaxian frowned. "Impossible. Our intelligence shows they have no advanced technology. The signatures appear similar to our own propulsion systems, but the pattern is different." Varaxian stood from his command chair. "Send probes to investigate, and prepare the first wave of bombardment ships. We will not be deceived by primitive tricks." Back on Earth, President Gibson continued negotiations with the Hegemony, appearing cooperative while buying more time. In a secure bunker beneath the White House, she received updates on the fleet's preparations. "Madam President, all ships report ready status," her military advisor informed her. "Admiral Murphy requests permission to launch." Gibson looked at the countdown. 4 hours remaining in the deadline. "Tell the Admiral to hold until my signal," she ordered. "We need every minute of preparation we can get." Aboard the U.S. Defiant, Daniel Bennett received the order to stand by. He turned to Lieutenant Parker, who had joined him from Tactical Command. "What do you think of our chances, Lieutenant?" he asked quietly. Olivia studied the holographic display showing the Hegemony fleet's positions. "They're overconfident. Their ships are arranged for atmospheric bombardment, not space combat. They don't expect resistance." Daniel nodded. "Then that's our advantage. We'll hit them when and where they least expect it." As the deadline approached, Earth's hidden fleet prepared for launch. In oceans, deserts, and the dark side of the moon, massive doors opened, revealing launch bays that had remained secret for decades. The deadline expired. On the Hegemony command ship, High Chancellor Varaxian watched Earth with growing impatience. "No formal surrender has been received," reported his communication officer. "Then they have chosen extinction," Varaxian said calmly. "Prepare the first wave of bombardment. Target their military installations and government centers." The massive alien ships moved into attack formation. Weapon ports opened along their sides, glowing with energy. In the White House bunker, President Gibson received confirmation that all of Earth's hidden fleet was ready. "Madam President, should we continue negotiations?" asked her advisor. Gibson shook her head. "They've made their intentions clear. It's time to show them ours." She pressed a button on her console. "Admiral Murphy, you have a green light. Godspeed." Across the planet, the Sentinel program activated its launch protocols. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, the water began to churn. Massive doors opened on the ocean floor, releasing bubbles that rose to the surface in growing columns. Similar disturbances appeared in oceans worldwide. Beachgoers in Australia pointed at the strange bubbling water. Fishermen in the Atlantic abandoned their boats as the sea began to foam. On the hegemony ships, alarms sounded. "Chancellor, we're detecting massive energy surges from the planet's oceans," a sensor officer reported urgently. Voraxian rushed to the viewport just as the surface of the Pacific Ocean exploded upward. A massive ship, almost as large as his own command vessel, rose from the depths, trailing cascades of water. All around the planet, similar scenes unfolded. Ships emerged from under ice sheets, rose from desert sands, and appeared from hidden mountain bases. From the dark side of the moon, another fleet of vessels appeared, moving rapidly toward Earth orbit. "Impossible," Voraxian whispered. Inside the U.S. Defiant, Captain Bennett felt the ship shudder as it broke through the ocean's surface and rose into the air. "All systems operational," reported his navigation officer. "We're clear of the water." "Take us up," Bennett ordered. Formation Delta with the Pacific Fleet. The Defiant climbed rapidly, joined by dozens of other vessels. Water streamed from their hulls as they accelerated upward. Their sleek designs, inspired by both human imagination and alien technology, gleamed in the sunlight. In orbit, the first human and hegemony ships faced each other. Admiral Murphy, aboard his command vessel, opened a channel to the alien flagship. "This is Admiral Jack Murphy of Earth's Defense Fleet. High Chancellor Voraxian, the people of Earth reject your terms and present our counterproposal." On the hegemony command ship, Voraxian stared at the human on his screen. "What trickery is this?" he demanded. "Our intelligence showed no spacefaring capability." "Your intelligence was wrong," Murphy replied. "We've been watching the stars for longer than you think. We've prepared for this day." Voraxian's face darkened. "These primitive vessels cannot stand against the might of the hegemony. Your resistance is futile." "Perhaps," Murphy acknowledged. "But humans have a saying. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog." The communication ended. Voraxian turned to his weapons officer. "Destroy them all." The first shots of the battle flashed across space as hegemony vessels fired energy weapons at Earth's fleet. But to their surprise, many of the shots missed as the human ships displayed unexpected maneuverability. Captain Bennett's voice came over the fleet channel. "Remember your training. Use their overconfidence against them. Attack pattern Omega." Earth's ships broke formation, moving in ways the hegemony had never encountered. Instead of meeting the aliens head-on, they executed complex flanking maneuvers. The U.S. Defiant led a squadron directly toward the largest hegemony vessel. As alien weapons fire surrounded them, Bennett gave the order. "Activate shield countermeasures. Fire main batteries." The first human weapons struck the hegemony ship. To Voraxian's shock, they penetrated the shields, leaving smoking holes in the alien vessel's hull. "How is this possible?" he demanded. The battle for Earth had begun, and humanity had revealed its answer to the galactic hegemony's demand for surrender. An armada that had remained hidden until the moment it was needed most. The battle spread across Earth's orbit and beyond. Human ships darted between larger hegemony vessels, firing with surprising accuracy. Though the aliens had superior technology, they had never faced an enemy who fought like humans did. Lieutenant Olivia Parker coordinated the tactical response from the U.S. Defiant. Her screen showed the positions of all Earth and hegemony vessels. "Captain Bennett, their fleet is dividing to protect their command ship. she reported. Just as we predicted. Bennett nodded. Execute Phase 2. Olivia sent commands to the fleet. Instantly, Earth's ships divided into smaller attack groups, each targeting specific weaknesses in the hegemony formation. They fight without honor, Voraxian complained as he watched human vessels avoid direct confrontation. They will not face us directly. His second-in-command, a veteran of many conquests, looked worried. Chancellor, they are targeting our communication relays and weapon systems with precision. This is not random. In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, another battle unfolded. A group of human ships led by the U.S. Challenger engaged hegemony forces attempting to flank Earth's main defense. They're trying to circle around behind us, Captain Susan Miller of the Challenger told her crew. Not today. Her ship accelerated through a narrow gap between two asteroids, something the bulkier hegemony vessels couldn't manage. The maneuver put her squadron behind the alien forces. Fire, she ordered. Back near Earth, Major Frank Wilson led a team of Space Marines in pressurized combat suits. Their mission: board a damaged hegemony vessel. Remember, we need their navigation data, Frank told his team as their shuttle approached the alien ship. Get in, download the data, get out. The boarding team cut through the hull and entered the darkened corridor of the alien vessel. They moved quickly, encountering light resistance from the surprise crew. In the control room of Mariana Base, Dr. Sofia Martinez monitored all communications. Commander Hayes, I've intercepted something important, she said urgently. The hegemony has called for reinforcements. A second fleet is approaching from the edge of our solar system. Peter's face showed concern. How many ships? At least twice what we're fighting now, Sofia replied. They'll be here in less than 6 hours. Peter immediately contacted Admiral Murphy. Admiral, we need to change our strategy. We can't win a prolonged battle. On his command ship, Murphy received the news grimly. Understood. Contact Captain Bennett. We're implementing the Trojan Horse Protocol. Earth's fleet had performed surprisingly well, destroying or disabling dozens of hegemony vessels. But they had also suffered losses. 3 major ships had been destroyed, and many others were damaged. On the U.S. Defiant, Bennett received the new orders. We need a strike team to infiltrate the hegemony command ship, he told his officers. If we can capture Voraxian, we might be able to end this before reinforcements arrive. Lieutenant Parker studied the tactical display. Their flagship is heavily guarded. We'd need a distraction. That's exactly what we'll give them, Bennett replied. I'll lead the strike team myself. On Earth, President Gibson addressed the remaining world leaders in the emergency bunker. The initial battle goes better than expected, but we cannot sustain these losses, she told them. Our scientists are working on a way to disable multiple hegemony ships simultaneously using their own communication network against them. Major Wilson's team successfully extracted the navigation data from the hegemony ship and returned to their shuttle. As they escaped, Frank examined the information they had gathered. This isn't just a resource raid, he reported to command. They have plans for harvesting operations on at least 3 other planets in nearby systems. Earth is just one target in a larger campaign. Admiral Murphy received this news with determination. Then stopping them here is even more important. All ships prepare for the final phase of our defense. As Earth's fleet regrouped, a small stealth vessel separated from the U.S. Defiant. On board were Captain Bennett, Lieutenant Parker, and Major Wilson with a select team of specialists. Their destination: the heart of the hegemony command ship and a direct confrontation with High Chancellor Voraxian. The stealth vessel approached the massive hegemony command ship, invisible to alien sensors thanks to technology reverse-engineered from crashed scout ships. Inside, Captain Bennett reviewed the mission with his team. Our ship will attach to their hull near a maintenance hatch, he explained, pointing to a holographic map. We'll split into 3 teams once inside. Lieutenant Parker nodded. I'll take Team 2 to disable their weapons systems. Without those, their advantage over our fleet disappears. Team 3 will secure their engine room, Major Wilson added. We can prevent them from retreating or bringing in reinforcements. Bennett checked his weapon. I'll lead Team 1 to find Varaxian. Remember, we need him alive if possible. The stealth ship silently attached to the hegemony vessel's hull. Using special tools, they cut through the metal without setting off alarms. One by one, the strike team entered the alien ship. The corridors were tall and narrow, designed for the elongated bodies of the hegemony species. Strange lights pulsed along the walls, and the air smelled like cinnamon and metal. Remember your breathing masks, Bennett whispered. Their atmosphere might be poisonous to us. At the first junction, the team split up. Parker led her group towards the weapons control center, Wilson headed for the engines, and Bennett moved towards the command deck. Back on Earth, Dr. Sofia Martinez worked frantically with her team. They had hacked into the hegemony's communication network and were discovering troubling information. Commander Hayes, look at this, she said, pointing to her screen. Records of at least 20 planets conquered by the hegemony. In each case, they claimed it was for necessary resources. Peter studied the data. Same pattern every time. They demand surrender, then take what they want and leave the planet uninhabitable. But there's something else, Sofia continued. These reports to their central government are different from what Varaxian tells his own people. He claims these are peaceful resource-sharing missions. He's lying to his own species, Peter realized. Can we broadcast this to their fleet? If we can access their main communication hub, yes. Peter immediately contacted the strike team to relay this crucial information. On the hegemony ship, Lieutenant Parker's team reached the weapons control center. 2 alien guards stood at the entrance. Parker signaled to her team, and they used stun weapons to quickly and silently neutralize the guards. Inside, alien technicians turned in surprise as the humans entered. Before they could raise an alarm, Parker's team subdued them. Begin the shutdown sequence, she ordered as one of her specialists started working on the alien controls. Major Wilson's team faced heavier resistance on their way to the engine room. A squad of hegemony soldiers blocked their path. Take cover, Wilson shouted as energy weapons fired down the corridor. His team ducked behind structural supports and returned fire. The firefight was brief but intense. When it ended, the humans moved forward, stepping over the fallen aliens. These aren't the same species as the command crew, one of Wilson's team noted, looking at the smaller, stockier bodies. They're using other species as soldiers, Wilson realized. Just like they use planets for resources. Captain Bennett's team moved carefully toward the command deck. Along the way, they passed what appeared to be a holding area. Inside were aliens of various species, clearly not part of the hegemony forces. Prisoners, one of Bennett's team asked. Bennett checked a nearby control panel. Not prisoners. Slaves. They're taking more than just water from conquered worlds. He used his communication device to contact Parker and Wilson. Change of plans. We're not just here for Varaxian. We need to free these people and expose what the hegemony is really doing. Outside the command ship, the battle continued to rage. Earth's fleet fought bravely, but was beginning to be overwhelmed by superior numbers as the first wave of hegemony reinforcements arrived. Admiral Murphy watched the tactical display with growing concern. The strike team needs to succeed soon, or we'll have no choice but to retreat. On the command deck of the hegemony flagship, High Chancellor Varaxian received reports of intruders. Humans, on my ship, he snarled. Find them and kill them immediately. Little did he know that Captain Bennett was already outside the command deck, preparing to confront the alien leader who had threatened his world. Captain Bennett and his team placed small explosives on the door to the command deck. They took cover around the corner as the charges detonated with a muffled thump. Rushing through the smoke, they entered the command center with weapons ready. High Chancellor Varaxian stood at the center of the room, surrounded by his officers. He was taller than Bennett had expected, nearly 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shimmer between blue and silver. "So the primitives have learned to sneak as well as fight," Varaxian said, his voice deep and calm despite the situation. Bennett kept his weapon aimed at the alien leader. "Your invasion ends today, Chancellor." Varaxian smiled, revealing teeth like polished metal. "You are brave but foolish. My reinforcements are already arriving. Your small fleet cannot stand against the might of the hegemony." "Perhaps," Bennett admitted. "But before this ends, your own people will learn the truth about you." Confusion showed on Varaxian's face. "What truth?" At that moment, Lieutenant Parker's voice came through Bennett's communication device. "Weapons systems disabled, Captain. We've also accessed their main communication hub." "Do it now," Bennett ordered. Across the hegemony fleet, screens flickered as Dr. Martinez transmitted the evidence they had discovered. Ship's crews saw the secret reports about conquered worlds left uninhabitable, the enslavement of other species, and the lies told to their own government. One hegemony ship commander, Krell, stared at the screen in horror. He had served the hegemony for decades, believing they were bringing order to the galaxy, not destruction. "This cannot be true," he whispered. But the evidence was overwhelming. Records, images, and testimony from enslaved species aboard the ships made the truth undeniable. On the command deck, Varaxian saw the broadcast playing on his own screens. His officers looked at him with new eyes. "Lies," Varaxian shouted. "Human propaganda." "Your own records, Chancellor," Bennett replied. "We didn't create them. You did." In the engine room, Major Wilson and his team had secured the area when they noticed something strange. Several of the engineers weren't hegemony species but appeared to be from conquered worlds. "Why do you help them?" Wilson asked one alien who looked almost plant-like, with bark-like skin and leaves instead of hair. "Our families," the engineer replied in broken English. "They keep our families on our homeworld. Work for them, or our families suffer." Wilson nodded with understanding. "What if you could be free? All of you?" Throughout the hegemony fleet, confusion spread as the truth became known. Some ships remained loyal to Varaxian, but others began to question their orders. Commander Krell opened a channel to the human fleet. "This is Commander Krell of the hegemony vessel Starbreaker. I wish to speak with your leaders." Admiral Murphy received the transmission with surprise. "This is Admiral Murphy of Earth. If what we have seen is true, then many of us have been deceived," Krell said. "I propose a ceasefire to discuss these matters." On the command deck, Varaxian saw his authority crumbling. In a desperate move, he lunged toward a control panel. "If I cannot have your world, no one will." Bennett tackled him before he could reach the controls. They struggled briefly before Bennett subdued the larger alien with a move taught in Earth's military training. "Your reign ends here," Bennett told the pinned leader. Around the solar system, the battle began to change. Several hegemony ships ceased fire, while others continued to attack both human vessels and their former allies. From Earth, President Gibson watched the unfolding events with hope. "Open a channel to Commander Krell and any other hegemony ships willing to talk. Tell them we are ready to negotiate a true peace." As Bennett's team secured Varaxian and freed the enslaved species aboard the command ship, Lieutenant Parker accessed the vessel's broadcast system. "Attention all hegemony forces," she announced. "High Chancellor Varaxian has been removed from command. The war is over. The truth has been revealed." 3 weeks after the battle, Admiral Jack Murphy stood on the observation deck of the newly established peace station, an orbital facility built jointly by humans and former hegemony species. Below him, Earth looked peaceful, showing no signs of the conflict that had nearly destroyed it. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Captain Bennett asked as he joined the Admiral. Murphy nodded. "Hard to believe how close we came to losing it all." The aftermath of the battle had been chaotic but hopeful. With Varaxian captured and his deceptions exposed, many hegemony ships had surrendered. Commander Krell had emerged as a leader among those who rejected Varaxian's methods, calling for a new approach to galactic relations. "The delegations are ready for the signing ceremony," Bennett said. They walked together to the station's main hall, where representatives from Earth and 23 former hegemony worlds gathered. President Gibson stood at the center, alongside Commander Krell. "Today marks a new beginning," Gibson said as the ceremony began. "Not just for Earth, but for all worlds represented here. The Galactic Alliance Treaty establishes cooperation instead of conquest, sharing instead of stealing." Krell stepped forward. "For too long, the hegemony used fear and lies to control both its own people and other worlds. Today, we choose a different path." The treaty was signed by all parties. Its key provisions included technology sharing, resource management, and mutual defense. Dr. Sofia Martinez sat with a group of scientists from various worlds. She had been appointed head of the Interspecies Communication Initiative. The water crisis that drove the hegemony to conquest wasn't even real, she explained to a colleague. Their leadership created artificial shortages to maintain control. With proper management and technology sharing, there's enough for everyone. Lieutenant Parker had been promoted to commander and assigned to lead the joint security force protecting the new alliance. She watched as former enemies now worked side by side. "Strange how quickly things can change," she remarked to Major Wilson, who stood nearby. "Not so strange," Wilson replied. "Most people, regardless of species, want the same things: safety, prosperity, freedom." Voraxian exploited fear to prevent exactly what's happening now. In a secure facility on the moon, Voraxian awaited trial for crimes against multiple worlds. His empire had collapsed as quickly as it had risen once the truth was known. Back on Earth, shipyards that had once built secret vessels now operated in the open, constructing ships designed for exploration rather than war. Chief Engineer Alan Foster supervised the construction of the newest vessel, the Unity. "She'll be the fastest ship ever built," he told a group of visiting aliens. "A combination of the best technologies from all our worlds." The Unity would be the flagship of the Alliance exploration fleet, with a mission to seek out other civilizations and offer friendship rather than conquest. 1 month later, the Unity prepared for its maiden voyage. Captain Bennett stood on the bridge, looking at his crew, a mix of humans and aliens, all working together. "Captain's log, Earth date May 30, 2025, he recorded. "The Unity departs today on humanity's first official mission beyond our solar system. Our crew represents 6 different species, former enemies now united in common purpose." As the Unity left Earth orbit, Admiral Murphy and President Gibson watched from Peace Station. "Do you think we're ready for this?" Murphy asked. "Being part of a galactic community." Gibson smiled. "We've always been ready. We just needed the right opportunity." On the bridge of the Unity, Captain Bennett gave the order to engage the faster-than-light drive, a technology shared by their new allies. "Course set for Alpha Centauri," his navigation officer reported. Bennett nodded. "Engage." The stars streaked into lines as the ship accelerated. Humanity had faced extinction, and instead found its place among the stars. The galactic empire that had demanded Earth's surrender had been transformed into an alliance of equals, with humans playing a central role in shaping a better future for all.